So what we're up to now, we're just going to cut the top of this gearbox tunnel out, and we're going to mount the Series 5 gearbox in there for the now. I'm not too sure if it's going to be indefinitely in there or we're going to go to the 8 HP route. We'll soon see. But nonetheless, we're going to set this gearbox up for the now, and we can use it to get all of our rear end geometry and all that type of stuff. So from the start of the back of the gearbox there, bow housing, sorry, to the center of the gear lever is 700. So as you can see, it's sitting in line with the handbrake lever, so you can either A, move that back, or we can shorten down where the shifter is. So either way, that's what we're going to have to do if we run with this gearbox. But nonetheless, we'll just open it up like a tin of beans on the top, and yeah, let's see what we can work with. Got the engine support bar hanging in the gearbox now. We've zeroed the bevel box here onto the chassis rail, so that's going to be our datum point. Got this roughly sitting around 5 degrees. So now we need to jump underneath and have a look and see how we're going to make this cross member. So as you can see, put a bit of a straight edge across here, just the ruler, just to show how much room we got up in here now. So we've got ample room for mufflers and whatnot going up through there. So the lowest point of the car was going to be the exhaust. Now that the gearbox is raised so high, we can tuck it up real tight under here. The lowest point is now the chassis rail, so this is going to be the determining factor on how low we can have the car, not the exhaust. So that's a pretty good feeling knowing that you ain't going to be scraping the exhaust anywhere. So as I say, exhaust and mufflers can all run up through here. And how we're going to make this cross member, very easy. Not too sure if you can see this angle, but I'll try. So as you can see them, we're going to come across here, tuck it up tight here so we've got clearance for the exhaust and mufflers. Back down over here, same thing, over to these mounting points here. So I'm not too sure if you can see that because I can't see the screen at the moment, but it's not too far out of line, so it's only a bit of a small dog leg across here, back that way over there, so it should be really simple. As you can see now, since the motor's been moved so far back, you can see that the gear lever is basically in line with the handbrake. Obviously it's interfering, so what we need to do, we need to shorten this up. So we'll bring that whole setup forward as much as we can to get it away from the handbrake lever, and if it's still not further enough forward to sit within the factory center console, we'll make a dog leg gear lever. That'll be pretty interesting to see. So what we'll do there is I'll cut that off, machine a flat on here, drill and tap it, so then we can make up a makeshift gear lever that goes that way to shift it forward, just to keep it within the factory center console trim. About to fold this gearbox cross member up shortly. So to make this, I like making things off measurement, like the cross member, and everything fits into place bang on. There's no adjustments, no slotting holes. As I always say, numbers don't lie. So you need a few basic measurements to get the ball rolling between the chassis rails, obviously. That way there we can work back inwards where our bolt holes are. So we've got studs here on the car, and on the driver's side this is actually on an angle with the studs here, and that's how we're going to bolt this gearbox mount up to it. So we could have went, I can say this side here, because it's not an angle, we could have come straight across here up to the bottom of the gearbox mount there, then back down over there. The reason why we've gone sort of this way across here, dog legged it, is because we were looking for exhaust clearance. So the only measurements we really needed was between the chassis rails, obviously you need a datum point center line. We needed the height from the bottom of the mounting plate to where the bottom of the gearbox mount is, width of the gearbox mount, and everything else will just fall into place after that. So what we've done is we've got a bit of 5-inch tube here, and as you can see, all the measurements, it does align there. I have played around with it, so it doesn't hit anything once it's in there properly. So basically I'm saying that's going to be the muffler. We can hopefully get some slimmer mufflers. The majority of the time it'll just be a straight pipe anyway. As you can see, we're going to have ample clearance. So this is the lowest part of the gearbox crossing, but the lowest part of the whole car itself is roughly here, because the chassis rail hangs down a little bit lower than that, and there's a pinch rail. So as I say, this gearbox is never ever going to hit. So I've never done this before. I thought I better, before I fold that plate up, I better go and make a little dummy up, just to make sure we're not going to waste any material. So I've got some aluminium TIG wire, folded it up, so we're going to have a look under the car and see how our clearances are going. Roughly holding into place, as you can see, that's what it's going to look like. No clearance issues whatsoever, but I can actually take this part here further out that way. We've got a bit of a gap between the tunnel. This side here will also do the same. There's a little bit more room we got there, and I might drop this part here a fraction lower. But apart from that, there it is as a whole. Now time to make a real one. We're all marked out now. So what we need to do now is chuck it in the press and fold it all up using a bit of 6mm plate. Just remember, when you're folding things, depending how you're doing it, you might have to take away the material thickness either on one end or both ends. Depends how you're folding things now and then. So yeah, it's caught me out a couple times when I've folded things over the years. So nonetheless, I think we're good to go. We have to improvise then with the press, so we have to make up these spaces just so we can get the last fold. But nonetheless, here it is all done. Get it sitting where we need to. See all our dimensions are lining up exactly how we want them. Just got some excess material here to cut off, and you see the line basically bang on there as well. So pretty happy considering how many bends there were. Here goes our tube again, fabricating the muffler. Working sweet. So pretty happy with that. Nice and strong too. This fit of the crossmember, I wasn't expecting it to turn out like this. I thought I may have had to have slot a couple of holes or so, but they all landed bang on. Well, I was expecting, especially with this many bends and that type of thick plate, I was expecting to be a bit of deviation here and there, but everything landed perfectly. The only problem is I've done my measurements too accurate, so it's literally size for size between the chassis rails. So I need to grind a little bit off there, likewise on that side. And as you can see, I've got a bit of excessive material on this side, so I've got it flush with this side here. So what I'm going to do is go from there, taper it out, and that'll be job done, I think. So I've cut all the shapes now, and all I'm doing is finishing off by using a bit of sandpaper on these row locks, and there's a few different type of grades like the Scotch-Brite. So I'll use the sandpaper first, finish up with the Scotch-Brite, good to go. Have got these edges nice and true, real straight, as we just put them on the belt sander over there. So real simple, as I say, like it's always the small details and something that make it a. So to spend another extra 2-3 minutes max to radius your corners off, run around with these around the perimeter, just makes it so much better than having a product like that with just the natural grain of the steel. Then most people just leave it with all the grinder marks all over it, so it should be a nice smooth piece. That's our gearbox crossmember all done now, but nice chamfers around the whole perimeter. Holes all chamfered. Good to go. Here we have it all bolted in under its own weight now. So some of you might be thinking, why didn't I just come straight across there? There's actually a reason behind it. So we could have come across here, done one bend and back down, but a 6mm plate, so I wanted to get even more strength, so that's why I went up and done 2 bends in it. That way there, it's a lot stronger. So we've lowered this gearbox back down, now it's under its own weight, and there's 0 deflection from this plate. So pretty happy with that and how it all worked out. Now you can see how we've done that taper. Everything looks a lot nicer, so the same width at the start, and it tapers out to the 90mm plate here. There we have it. That's how you make an RX2 crossmember. While I was editing the start of this video, I was talking about the 8HP swap. We don't know if we're going to use this, but we're definitely going to be using this gearbox from here on out. We will rebuild it, shorten the shifter, all that type of carry on. Reason why we had to change the old 8HP plan, simply because the starter motor, where they sit on the conversions, on top of the block here, so they look really ugly on this nice clean engine bay. Then you've got a big manky starter motor sitting up there, so we couldn't have that. So I'm definitely not going to go 8HP anymore on this. That will be for the Altezza. Reason being, with the Altezza, you've got the Betty intake manifold that comes across, so not as noticeable and in your face, still ugly, but not as bad. But with this NA motor, there's no way we're going to have a big ugly keg sitting there. So that's the end of this little video. Hope you fellas sort of want to get inspired to go and give it a go yourselves.